Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. We got some Russian history. Aha, до свидания. Anyways, okay, that's about all I know in Russian. So this was the other one that my buddy had for me. I went and picked it up from him on Saturday. We drove down to see him. Spent a couple hours there with him and the wife. Except for me and him, we were in the basement. We're having fun. Anyways, so this is another gun that he's given me for free. He also gave me a pile of ammo too, which I don't have out here. It's not necessary. There's a bunch of different brands, different speeds, different types, including the new hyper velocity palmier tipped ones. That is going to be fun to try those out. I have already cleaned the barrel. We did fire it at his place once, just so I could see what the trigger felt like, because he wanted me to know ahead of time. No surprises. It's a pretty light trigger, I gotta tell you that. I love how the Russians do things. Now this is a single shot, and there's been a bit of a story behind it. I can't remember precisely the whole thing, but it's a single shot, okay? Now with that being said, when he mounted for the rails here, okay, because this is normally it's not a grooved receiver. Some models had the grooved receiver, some didn't. This was one that didn't, so he wanted to put a scope on this, and the scope rings for it are dual offsets, which are actually in the house right now, and because I'm going to try it with open sights first, but anyway. So all I know is it's USSR. I've got the serial number here, and then I've got the same number here, but with a B in front. Underneath here, he kind of wiped out the model number when he had to, shave that down flat for mounting this. We do know it's a TOZ, or TO3, or TOZ, whatever. The closest I can find to this is, I believe it's called an 8M. And having the exact same setup, and it's like, okay, cool, what are the specs? Let's look that up. All right, 25 inches of barrel, which I measured and confirmed, 25 inches. Okay, plus a little bit. Anyway, this thing, if I remember correctly, I think he said it wasn't single shot at the time or something, but anyways, he had to make a new piece inside, obviously. And it loads buttery smooth, and I can use any 22 LR ammo in this, which is also nice because it is a single shot. We don't have to worry about, well, can I use CB shorts? Nope. Well, in this case, yes. Okay, so those little tiny ones, yep, you can throw that in there and fire it off, and away you go. So that's nice. It opens me up to a whole new world, something I can't do because I have certain limitations in LR ammo for my Savage, and it's like, but this, I have no limitations on that. Okay, other than the fact you do not put magnums into a 22 LR, right? Because different, and besides, I think they're different diameters too, so it's still not going to work for you. Anyway, neat thing about this USSR rifle is the open sights are in meters, not yards. Okay, so that is one thing that if you are going to collect old vintage firearms, in this case, the USSR stuff is going to be in meters. I think if I remember correctly from what I read on the net, there was only a very small short time period where they tried to use yards, and I guess they said screw it, and they went right to the metric system. So everything on this gun and many of their others, obviously, from way back. Pretty sure this thing's older than I am too, and I'm in my 50s, so yeah, this thing's ancient, but still in great shape. Shoots fantastic too. Anyways, this is from 25 yards is what's visible. Now if it's lower than that, I'm gonna have to figure out the settings, because there's like a locking gripper on each side, right? So wherever you lock it. So I don't know if that would be 50 yards or if I'm actually on 25 and this is half a 25. Not quite sure how that part works. I've seen only a couple of videos on this actual setup. Same stock, same thing, single load, bolt action, right? So there's not much on the gun. And when you start looking up any of these old USSR Russian guns, it's going to be hard to find info, all right? Especially on a specific model, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. They really just, I don't know, I guess they just weren't right out there, but they had them for a long time. And these were actually used for training cadets, military personnel, parliamentary guards, cops. Then some of their models, a couple of them, I don't remember if this one was particular in there, but they did have a few models that they had used for doing sniper work, okay? Because 22s are very quiet, right? As it is. So very ideal. So their idea was, from what I read up on, as long as you got a good headshot or a good torso shot, dead person. So you want to take somebody out? That's what they did. Now, there were also a few models that had threaded barrels on them so that you could actually put a silencer on, which is something that you would expect for, you know, any kind of spy work. Doesn't matter what country you're in. They like to keep it quiet, you know what I mean? So this was that was a good idea, right? But this one I think was definitely a great target rifle. It does have a 25-inch barrel, so it's also going to be very good for hunting with as well, for small game. It is very heavy though. This thing is no lightweight machine. It's got some beef to her. Like that's a solid gun in your hands, right? And I like the forend here, so I could actually get my fingers and dig them in and get a really nice grip, you know, which also keeps my hand away from here. I can have it down here so there's no mistaking where I'm grabbing, right? So, and it adds some nice little character to the gun, as do the sling mounts. And you're going to need a belt style sling for this, so one without the little clippers on already. It looks like we only have like a couple of bolts that are going to hold this thing in. That's going to be about it. So I've still yet to get out to the range yet, even with my new Savage. But I did get to pop off a round on this because he wanted me to be aware of the trigger. It is a sensitive trigger. It's not like it's hairy to the point where if you drop the gun it'll go off. It's not that bad. But it is fairly light trigger either way, which I kind of like that sort of thing. I have probably, I don't know, maybe a 3 ounce, if that, on my pellet gun. And I mean, it is super light. Well, you can't sneeze, but it's not far off. Another 3/4 of a turn, and yeah, if you sneezed, it would go off. I like that for precision target shooting, but for hunting purpose, I think we need to crank the tension up. But this would be good for either one. So if you're going to try doing some precision shooting with this, it could probably do it. I don't know. We're going to have to find out whenever I can get it to the range. However, the Russians did a really sneaky thing. From what I heard on the internet when I was trying to find out more about this precise model, because this is not normally drilled and tapped for any kind of mounts, right? When he had done the front, he had to, you know, obviously file it here and file it here in order to flatten it out properly to fit these. Part of the model number, of course, is missing. Okay, so we got a rough idea, but even looking up the serial numbers does me no justice. I can't. All we know is the serial number of the bolt and the receiver. They match, and the receiver has a letter in front, then the numbers. We have no other real markings to tell us anything about the gun. So it's kind of like, well, because obviously, you know, part of those are missing, right? Which the closest I could find to this would be an 8M, okay? I think it's called an 8M. Anyways, I've got it written down in the house. Now, this thing is a really neat beast too, because when you pop the back cap off here, you can actually fully remove the bolt. But with the cap on, it's going to stay there. So you can't accidentally remove the bolt, in other words, okay? You do have to remove the cap first. And safety decaulking is as per usual. All right. Now, as far as the trigger goes, there's definitely no adjustability. Okay, obviously, but it doesn't take much. She's pretty nice and light, and it's kind of like a bent over punched metal kind of thing. You can see there, right? Anyways, nice trigger. Your only safety, of course, other than keeping your bloody finger off the trigger till you're ready to fire, which you're supposed to anyway, is to not have anything loaded in it and safety decock it. So pull the bolt back, pull the trigger in, push bolt forward, lock it down, and that's your safety. That's all they had back in the day on this one. So yeah, no cross block, no other safety system. So, but you know, you just got to use some common sense when you're dealing with these kind of firearms. So there you go. Anyhow, what else? Well, I think we mentioned it's in meters. They did that. Now, there's no windage adjustment. That's all done at the front side of your front sight. So you just got to kind of give it a little knock to do your windage that way. So we're going to find out how well this is set up once we find an ammo for it that it's the tightest group to bullseye, and see how it does that way. And that's with the open sights. But I may put a scope on this myself too, because at least he's got the mounts there, so that'll work. Anyhow, not much else I can really tell you because I don't know much at this point in time. I'm still trying to do a bunch of research on it to see if I can find out more and more about it. But I'm coming up to a lot of dead ends other than what I've basically found out. I mean, they've done these in single shots. They've done them with magazines that were box magazines that drop down, which obviously this does not have. Now, if I remember right, he had mentioned to me something about this thing. I think he said it had some kind of a mag, or there was something with it anyways, but he had to fix it. So he made the parts to do that. Okay, he's a machinist and gunsmith. And he did a beautiful job. This thing loads like butter. It's like, that is so sweet. And the best part about it is you can use any of the 22 LR ammo. Okay, I mean, you can't use 22 Magnum obviously, but you can use any of the 22 LR ammo, including the little teeny weeny CB shorts, right? So that's kind of a benefit, you know. And being single shot, there's nothing wrong with single shot. Now the bolt is very stiff to close though, because that's when you're cocking it, right? When you're pushing forward, load your round. So it is pretty stiff. Obviously it's been like that forever, and it still is not loosening up over time, and I have no idea how many rounds have been through this gun, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't either. So, but you can bet that considering the age and the vintage of this gun, it probably had an awful lot of rounds through, but she's still shooting really super good. Now I've already cleaned it and prepped it for the range, so I've cleaned the barrel inside and all that, lubed it up, that sort of thing. So it's all ready to go. I just got to be able to get out to the range yet. So, and when we do that, we will give you more info at that point, which also in the meantime, I got a lot more info to try and find out more and more about this particular gun, because just going by serial numbers, you don't find anything. And I'm trying to find out more about the series, because like I said, it seems that it's an 8M. That's what I'm seeing with this stock, this length of barrel, etc. Now some of these had grooved receivers, some didn't, that sort of thing. They did sniper work with some of their models. Some of them had threaded barrels for silencers, because yeah, you could still you could kill a human with 22. Apparently they figured it out. Well-placed headshot or torso shot, the right distance, and yep, and it's quiet, so nobody hears anything, basically, right? So I don't know, that's just the way it was, I guess, back in the day. And but really nice gun. I really like it. I am not going to change anything about this thing. You know, so I'm going to just maintain it, keep it good, you know, shoot it, obviously. I'm not sure about hunting wise though, if I want to carry something this heavy with me, but I might, you know, you never know. And 25 inches of barrel, I mean, that's going to provide some really good accuracy, but at the same time, it is going to slow down the bullet a bit. But then again, it depends on which bullet this thing favors. and with the speed of that bullet, how much it's going to slow down, which is also going to give me more ballistics information on, you know, what kind of range I can expect for the best accuracy and so on and so forth, right? Just anything else that we normally have to learn about our firearms anyhow. What are their maximum capabilities, right? So in the meantime, I'm very thankful that he gave me this one as well as the shotgun. That was really awesome of him. Great friend. Otherwise, guys, I think I'm pretty much done with this video for now. And so we'll have to catch you guys on the next one. Turned out I didn't do the very first gun I bought myself video on my Savage. So we'll have to get to that too. But in the meantime, see ya.